Okay, everything should be working. Hopefully, I need to move around a little bit. So we should be good on everything working today. Hopefully everybody is tuning in or at least about to tune in. So we can get people in here to do some fun lecturing stuff. So I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, wait for people to join in, and then we will get started with our lectures and stuff for the day. I think there's currently only like 3 people watching, so I'm gonna take some time, chill for a little bit. Feel free to ask questions, any of that kind of good thing. I will be here. So, hopefully all of you guys are having a good April Fool's Day. Hopefully none of you have been fooled yet. I have not. I'm probably not going to be because I don't socialize. But we're going to be covering some history of April Fool's Day and stuff today, to kind of be festive and not have to worry about too much hard stuff. So okay, so I'm gonna wait like 8 or 9 more minutes, and then we'll get started for today, just so we can get all that stuff done. It's gonna be a pretty short, like actually informational day when it comes to stuff, but I think you guys will enjoy it nonetheless. So, yep. Let me get some stuff ready for some of the other classes. Since there's no one in here yet, I guess I can work on that. Double check my stuff. Double check all the stuff I have going on. Ooh, what is this? Ooh. Maybe. Do I need to make my own? Maybe I have it somewhere. Yep. Let's see. Is anybody on yet? Nope. Only about 5 people. Welcome. We're gonna take a couple more minutes, but wait for more people to get in here before we start. So feel free to start talking, doing whatever you want to do, and then we'll get started after that. So just need to find some good old-fashioned stuff. Let me make sure this is still actually even working. Okay. Okay, so that could be a fun thing for today. Yeah, cool. Skipping forward a little bit. Make sure I get all this stuff ready. Try to get it all set up. just don't do the Scripps trial. Then they can do that. Yeah. Oh boy, this is gonna be a nightmare. Okay, so I'll wait a couple more minutes. Hopefully the 6 people who are actually here are enjoying the nice relaxing music. No one's really talking, so I can't really do much else, but I'll get stuff going sooner or later. Let me double check how many animations there are for this slide. Oh boy. Okay. Need to have chat open. Just chilling. Nobody's here yet. It's fine. Not really worried about it. You guys have a project, so I understand. Many centuries ago. Okay, so one more minute and then we'll get started on the day. It's not gonna be actual like hardcore information. You guys have a project to work on, so I'm not too worried about you guys being here for today. I just figured for those people who might be bored with whatever's going on, they can come in, enjoy some lecturing, talk to me, talk with others, and then move on with their day. So, yep. So. Okay, so let's get started on today. Again, it's gonna be pretty laid back, pretty easy. When you guys have music to listen to, you guys can come in and chat, check in with me if you want to. Otherwise, you guys don't really have to be here. This is mostly just for those people who might be bored with everything. The stream probably isn't gonna last an hour. If it does, then that means I'm talking too much. Well, I mean, the stream will last an hour, but the actual content won't last an hour. Actual content's not even actually there. but we started on today, and I think you guys will actually enjoy the stuff we're learning about. So let's get started with that. Let me make sure I get all this stuff set up. So the thing we're going to be talking about today is April Fool's Day. So we're not actually going to be talking about the Renaissance. We're not going to be talking about any of that kind of stuff. We are purely going to be talking about the history of April Fool's Day and how that was created in society that we think of today. So I was looking into it this morning, found out that it's pretty interesting, and I figured it would be a cool side topic to share with you guys for the day. So, yeah. Also, in case any of you guys saw the APUS history stream yesterday, I ate a 9 million I don't remember what the scale is called, but I ate a very spicy gummy bear yesterday. It was miserable. Hated it. Don't know why I did it. But if you guys want to rewatch that, you could go back to watch the last 10 minutes of the APUS history stream yesterday and watch me suffer. But so what we're going to do is we're going to be learning about April Fool's Day, learning about why it is a thing, why it was created, how it's been used in modern society, and how that has been kind of creating a day of, although joy and pleasantries, but also a day of watching out, making sure you're not getting into trouble. So let's get started with this today. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a pretty interesting little story about how a couple of teenagers and a couple of random people started this holiday that we now celebrate pretty much worldwide. So let's get into it. Okay, so the historians, they first date back April Fool's Day back to about 1582. What this is going to do is around 1582, this is when the world is going to switch from the Julian calendar that we learned about in our ancient Roman history unit, and we're switching to the Gregorian calendar. What's going to happen is the world is going to see that the Julian calendar doesn't make any sense when it comes to farming and other parts of the world. 1,000 years after Julius Caesar was alive. So they're going to switch it up, and Pope Gregory is going to be the one that's going to do all of that. So Pope Gregory is going to create this new calendar, which is going to start on January 1st instead of April 1st. Main reason why is he figures out that after about 4 months of the cold and kind of unregulated weather that they have at the beginning of the year using the Julian calendar, they can instead do 4 months of cold and then start off the year with the spring equinox for farmers and all of the wonderful stuff that comes with spring. So the Gregorian calendar is going to be put into place, but much like people of today, sometimes people don't want to switch. So they might be set in their ways. They might be wanting to do something that they don't normally want to do. So getting told to switch from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar was seen as kind of taboo and seen as kind of pointless. Um, so and this is pretty common even with today, even with the United States not really switching to the metric system yet. We just, as humans, we don't like change. We want stuff to stay pretty consistent. We want stuff to stay pretty much the same. And it's pretty funny how even back to 1582, we have that strong mentality of no, we don't want change. Um, so what society is going to do is society is actually going to take this Gregorian calendar to or Julian to Gregorian calendar switch, and they are going to make fun of people for it. So this is where we get the first idea of April Fool's Day, where we actually have people being fooled and made fun of. So the people who were slow or resistant to the change, they often still followed the Julian calendar, where their new year started on April 1st. While all of the other people that decided to change, all of the hip new people who changed to the January 1st, that was the beginning of the year calendar, were then already 4 months into their year by the time everyone else had just started. Um, so what they did was they saw these people that were still celebrating this ancient Julian calendar, and they started mocking them, making fun of them, basically messing with them to try to get them to change. So they made fun of them for their clothing. They made fun of them for their calendar. They made fun of them for their misinterpretation of the Gregorian calendar and claimed that these people that weren't switching were basically the dumb people of society. Obviously, all this stuff is way after the Renaissance that we are currently talking about, and the Renaissance actually took place using the Julian calendar. But people are going to start switching it up and being like, this doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't make sense to have the start of the year 4 months in. And for those of you who have been playing Animal Crossing and that kind of thing, or pretty much Animal Crossing, April 1st actually marks a new set of bugs and fish that you can actually find in the wild. So I recommend catching a lot of Agris butterflies. They're worth quite a bit of money. And you will get tricked on Animal Crossing if you have it. So people are mocked and they're hoaxed into doing things, told lies that are blatant lies, basically told that they were going to do something wrong or doing something right, or that they were quitting a job or something like that. I know this morning, Mr. Winkler sent out an email to everybody saying that he took a position at a different school and that he's leaving. And then he obviously told us April Fool's Day. So it's kind of funny how that's kind of impenetrated our society of today and kind of created this weird mentality of you never know on April Fool's Day if someone's actually telling you the truth or not. Which is why I highly recommend you guys tune into the stream that I'm going to do at 1 o'clock. I think you guys will enjoy it. I'm trying to get as many people to come see it as possible because it's going to be not only a train wreck, but it's going to be a funny train wreck. So come in, hang out. You guys will have fun. So what the idea of April Fool's Day starts off with was pranks. Most of you guys have dealt with an April Fool's Day prank, usually someone telling you a lie and then telling you, oh, April Fool's Day. So what these pranks are going to consist of is making fun of each other's clothing, making fun of their calendar. So if you're making fun of their clothing, usually you're making fun of, at this time, it's more of a peasant versus nobility. Nobility is obviously not going to want to switch to the Gregorian calendar because they are rich. They are like, why should I follow this? And they're going to make fun of their like big collars and the way that they look, which is actually pretty funny when you think of it's just funny to make fun of people on April Fool's Day. They're also gonna make fun of their calendar. That one's pretty obvious. If you're using an outdated calendar made in like the 0th century, made by Julius Caesar, it's not gonna make much sense when you get into the modern day world. So they're gonna switch it up. It's not gonna make any sense, and then this Gregorian calendar is gonna start taking over the world. Another weird thing that they do, and this is where the idea of April Fools starts, is actually they place paper fish on the back of people who hadn't switched calendars yet. And what they called them was they called them the April fish. So they would chase people around, basically put these things on their backs, and they would call them the April fish. Main reason why is they had goldfish, they had other kinds of fish, and they realized how kind of gullible and pointless these fish were that they didn't really understand how things worked. So if you guys have ever used or ever seen a goldfish before, and if you guys don't know, goldfish have an attention span of, I think it's like 0.8 to 2 seconds, where they can't really remember what they're doing. So being this gullible fish, as a goldfish, you're gonna like go through a hoop and try to do something, and then you're gonna be like, oh, why did I do this? And they made fun of these people for being gullible people that aren't really like focusing on the change of times with the Gregorian calendar. Kaden, I didn't lie. So this one is, and I kind of like this just because it's kind of pushed its way into modern day society. But I know a lot of people, specifically in world history classes, but this is kind of our generation of the Zoomers. We use the "okay boomer" joke all the time. Specifically when someone tells us that we're using our phone too much or that we're doing something that we're not supposed to, even though society of today tells us that we can. Yeah. Kaden, I am still doing the thing at 1 o'clock. I can't schedule it for your guys' time. You guys still have the 9 o'clock schedule. I still have to do 9 o'clock. But there's going to be more stuff at 1 o'clock, and I'm not joking with that. It's basically going to be, versus a U.S. history class, it's going to be more of a entertainment class, and you guys will enjoy it. I promise. So tune in at 1 o'clock. I'm live now because if people want to come watch world history, which this isn't really world history, or answer questions about your guys' project. So, um, so it's kind of the first OK Boomer where people were like, okay, you're using this old, outdated calendar because you are old and outdated. Okay, and so, but instead of OK Boomer, it'd be like OK Julianist or OK Julian calendar user instead of OK Boomer, which is kind of obviously I'm making it stretching that pretty far, and it may or may not even be completely true. But you guys can kind of see how these trends, even back to the 15th, 16th century of society, just kind of randomly start, and then people follow it. So, oh, that's fine, Caden. You can watch the VOD later. It'll be pretty entertaining for you guys. It won't be too long of a lecture thing. It'll be pretty fun. So that's going to be kind of the start of this kind of joking around, making fun of people's stuff, making fun of their clothes, making fun of their calendar, making fun of anything they can. So then different histories are going to include different parts of this April Fool's Day ideology. So what's going to start in ancient Rome is they have the Hilaria Festival, which is where we get the word like hilarious or funny. Where people are going to dress up in costumes, chase each other around the streets, and make jokes at each other. Again, the Romans at the time were a very advanced society. They have technology, they have philosophy, they have all this extra thinking, and then they spend one day a year acting like complete idiots. So it's kind of cool how in the middle of a war-oriented society, we have this group of warrior people that are jumping around with like costumes on, making fun of people, making fun of different things, and then they are then going into war against people and conquering other people while also being complete morons at the same time. And then this one also goes back to theorize that it goes back to also ancient Egypt. I know for the people in this chat, we've also talked about ancient Egypt. We've even read this exact mythology that this is based off of, with the mythology of Isis, Osiris, and Seth. So if you guys don't remember that story, I could give you guys a brief synopsis of it. But basically, Seth was jealous of his brother Osiris, who's going to inherit the throne of the world. Seth is going to kill Osiris, and then chop him up into a billion different pieces. Isis, being his sister and his wife, is going to then grab all the pieces of Osiris, put them back together, including all of the inappropriate pieces. Imagine walking through ancient Egypt and finding just some random gods thing on the floor. Interesting. But so Isis is going to put Osiris back together, and they're going to see Seth cutting Osiris to pieces as kind of the first haha fooled you kind of joke. Obviously Seth knows that Osiris can't really die completely, but is going to do the joke anyways because he thinks it's funny. So that's going to be kind of the Egyptian side of history. I kind of find it funny that, again, both these cultures were all about survival, conquest, making the biggest empire they possibly can, yet they have enough time once a year that they can break down and just do random stuff like this. Um, so, um, Also, if you guys have not heard, apparently there's this thing where on the first day of April, if you say the words rabbit, rabbit, before Easter, apparently you get 30 days of good luck. I'm not entirely sure if that's true, but someone told me that. Again, they told me that today, so take it with many, many, many grains of salt because it's April Fool's Day. But it's pretty funny. So let's keep going on. So main reason why it's April Fool's Day and why the Julian calendar lines up accordingly with this is because of the vernal equinox, which is why this PowerPoint, I can't move, this PowerPoint is green, is because vernal means life or spring. So for those of you who are playing Animal Crossing, which I know, again, there's only 6 people in here right now, so if you can listen to this, cool. But when spring comes around on April 1st, what happens is different animals, different plants, different things are going to start happening in the world. And April Fool's Day was meant to be on the Julian calendar, supposed to be the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, which is why if you guys have been outside, which I hope you guys have been outside at least a little bit, even though you're not entirely allowed to. It's nice out. It's roughly around 50 to 45 to 60 degrees on average. You guys can go out in t-shirts and shorts and not be too cold. Um, it's also called April Fool's Day because it was apparently a joke from Mother Nature. Um, Obviously, you guys have seen the weather sometimes around April where it's like nice and sunny one day and then it's rainy or snowy the next day. And it says it's that April, Mother Nature is during the month of April, basically fooling us with unpredictable weather. So instead of just being this simple Mother Nature figure, spiritual figure, or other kind of figure that people think of, she's actually active with what's going on. She's fooling us with April weather. And if you guys have ever heard the joke of April showers bring May flowers, that kind of starts with this. That Mother Nature is actually nursing these flowers to health, so in May they'll actually grow. Welcome to Colorado weather. This is we deal with this pretty much daily. Our weather goes up and down so frequently that you can never really know whether you should be wearing a coat or wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Because I'm sure some days you guys have gone out with like a hoodie and then it gets like 95 degrees, and then later on in the day you take that hoodie off and it starts snowing and you're like, wow, this sucks. Colorado weather is basically a year-long April Fool's Day. Kind of funny how we get that in our state and other people don't. I mean, obviously some other states do, but with the way, excuse me, dehydrated. With the way our mountains and stuff are all set up and all of that, we get definitely a little more extreme weather variance than other people do. Okay. Um, so TV and pop culture. This part is my favorite part because I think it is um, yeah, the weather the other day, Michael, was crazy. I went outside. I was like, t-shirt and shorts. This is great. And then later on in the day, I'm like, it's frigid, cold. Um, but so TV and pop culture, obviously, now that you can broadcast stuff easily, much like I'm doing right now, you can now stream stuff, present stuff in a different way that makes it look true. So we have newspapers that are gonna start printing out false articles. We have other stuff. It hailed, snowed, and then it was sunny. If you guys did not know this, and this is purely sailor like uh ship sailor um mythology here. If it is raining and the sun is out at the same time, it is technically called the sailors will call it the devil is beating his wife. That is the term of it, because it's sunny, so it's all nice and pleasant, but then it's crying, so it's like the wife is crying. Don't know why sailors use that mythology, but it's kind of interesting how that mythology is kind of. But some newspapers can now print fake news, that kind of thing, make it seem like April Fool's Day stuff is true when the reality is it's not. TV stations do a really good job at this, or at least they used to before there's a couple laws passed saying that they really can't mess with people too much. Websites obviously do it. I don't know if you guys have gone to Google recently, but Google always does a pretty good job at it. Oh, dang, Google does not have that today. That's a little sad. It is Dame Jeans McNamara's birthday. Who is that? Australian doctor and scientist. What about April Fool's Day? Yeah, okay, that's fine. But so websites are gonna start making stuff. Google usually has some pretty fun stuff on there. Some of the old ones that Google has created. If you go to google.com, and you type in Zergrush, little O's will eventually come eat away your Google images. Or is it do it Zergrush? I don't remember. But so there was Zergrush one. There was Google Gravity for a day, where all of the stuff on Google would like fall because gravity was too heavy, that kind of thing. Google's pretty savage when it comes to it. It's pretty good stuff. But I don't think they did anything today, which is a little unfortunate. And then they usually make outrageously false claims and stuff like that. So if you guys want to see, and this is kind of the last slide, and this is kind of going to be the end of the actual lecture, you guys have a project to work on. I don't really care if you guys are here today. I was gonna cancel the stream, but I figured might as well do something for those people who actually want to be here. Um, but so BBC in 1957 is going to. How's it going, Jackson? BBC in 1957 is going to make a report that Swiss farmers are harvesting spaghetti noodles from trees. Let me look it up. Ooh, I found a clip of it. Let me see if the video works. Yeah, I'll post the video link to you guys just so you guys can see it later. It is pretty funny. But basically, BBC is going to come up with this fake news article that you can now harvest the spaghetti noodles from trees, which is obviously not real. Spaghetti is made from wheat, which is grown in the ground. NPR is then going to make a fake commercial. If you guys don't know what NPR is, well, BBC is first British broadcasting channel or communication or something like that. NPR's National Public Radio is going to make a fake commercial about President Nixon or Richard Nixon running for president in 1992. This was about close to 20 years after President Nixon was forced to resign from the presidency. And believe it or not, President Nixon actually died in 1994. So he probably wasn't in good enough health to even run for president anyways. But NPR is gonna make this huge like propaganda thing. It was an election year, and they're gonna build it up to be like this is going to be a brand new presidential candidate. That it's gonna be President Nixon, and that he's going to bring in all the stuff that he had promised to begin with. Obviously, President Nixon still is kind of living infamy, even though he did some good things. But it's kind of funny how they include him in the pop culture of 1992. And then finally, Taco Bell and Burger King. In my opinion, these are the best things ever. I just like these kind of jokes, and I've played some of these jokes on you guys. But and you guys might have a joke coming later on today. I just haven't made it yet. Maybe. Haven't decided. But Taco Bell and Burger King are going to create some interesting food. So Taco Bell is going to buy the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, and they're going to rename it the Taco Liberty Bell. Obviously, the Liberty Bell is a famous U.S. history landmark, talking about the liberty of the United States from Great Britain. And Taco Bell is like, hey, our logo is a bell. This is a bell. We can buy it for April Fool's Day and then call it the Taco Liberty Bell. Obviously, that's not real. People in Philadelphia probably they didn't probably think it was too funny. But they said they started spreading commercials about it, news ads, newspaper ads, and then even released a Liberty Bell taco for a limited time. Meanwhile, at Burger King, they're going to advertise the left-handed Whopper. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. I'll post this ad onto Classroom as well so you guys can see it. It is really funny. But basically the left-handed Whopper is going to be an advertisement for the typical Whopper, but instead now left-handed people can now eat it, which even though this is on the right side of your guys' screen, this is my left hand because it doesn't make an L. Well, it does for you. Oh wait, it does make an L. I don't know my directions. But so they're gonna create the left-handed Whopper. Obviously, it's just a normal Whopper. They just recommend you eat it with your left hand, which is kind of dumb. But oh my gosh, that's pretty funny. And they're gonna release like a whole scientific information about the left-handed Whopper and why it's different from the right-handed Whopper. Obviously it's not. It's the same thing. It's just like, hey, you get more grip on the seeds or whatever when you're eating it. But you guys can kind of see that people throughout society and through history have kind of had this funny side of like, sure, like the bubonic plague is going on, sure, everything kind of sucks right now, but let's have some fun with it. Like, let's create this new holiday, create this random holiday about random stuff going on in the world, and start making fun of people for not switching a calendar. And then finally, it gets into modern day food industry, modern day sorry, it gets into modern day food, gets into modern day broadcasting, gets into even our school district. We have teachers posting all day today saying that they're leaving the school. Obviously, they're not, except some of the teachers actually are, and they've already announced that. So, um, but so it's kind of funny how April Fool's Day can be kind of seen as this kind of fun way to goof around with somebody, goof around with society, or even mess with an entire U.S. history class. So that's pretty much it for the educational stuff we have going on today. Obviously, none of this stuff is actually going to be on your guys' test or anything like that. This is purely just if you guys wanted to come hang out, you guys have that option. So now what I'm going to do for the last like 5 or 6 minutes of this actual stream, answer some questions from you guys. I don't want to stream for very long. I guess get some other stuff ready for the other classes. But you guys do still have a project to do on Thursday, which is tomorrow. This is not an April Fool's joke. If it was, I would honestly tell you guys. It is due tomorrow. You guys should, hopefully, if you're working with partners, should get that done. If you are working by yourself and you need an extension, please let me know, and I'm more than willing to get you in on that. Yeah, so I'm here for a couple more minutes. Feel free to ask any questions. Tell me any interesting stories you may have heard today, anything like that. I know I had my friend just texted me a picture of AT-AT or ATSTs from Star Wars fighting in World War I and II. Obviously, that's not a real thing, but it's kind of funny how we use that different forms of media to kind of make jokes and make society interesting. So those of you with Animal Crossing, go catch more bugs today. I guarantee you'll find some pretty good ones. Specifically, Agris butterflies are the ones that are worth quite a bit right now. I think they're about $3,500 a piece, and they spawn near flowers all day. So yeah, so I'm here for another couple more minutes. Let me go back to my first slide just so it looks like I'm just kind of here. Yeah, for the 8 people watching. So, Luna, I don't know if it's supposed to snow again. I can check this. Colorado. It is supposed to snow tomorrow. It's supposed to be a high of 42, low of 20. Wow. Interesting. Ugh. Also, if any of you guys, yeah, Kaden, don't catch the big fish in the ocean unless it's off the pier. Otherwise, you're pretty much guaranteed a sea bass. If it's off one of the piers or peninsula areas, they have slightly higher rarity. Otherwise, they're kind of pointless. Luna, Animal Crossing is the best. It is so much fun. Even though it's like living another person's life while living your own life. But it has a big following and it's pretty good. I'm still playing it right now. My brother's actually completed the whole thing already. They've been kind of speed running it, not actually, but they skipped around time, and I'm trying not to. So, nope. So what I do want to do before I leave for today is please tune in at 1 o'clock. I guarantee the stream will be entertaining for you guys. I'm not going to let you guys in on the secret because it is a secret. But you guys will enjoy it. You guys will be entertained. And hopefully you guys tune in just to even see what's going on. It is going to be kind of a train wreck. It's going to be kind of goofy, kind of weird, but it will be cool. You guys will enjoy it, I promise. So please come join in, and it'll be great. So, yeah. So I'm going to play the outro, which is just basically just music. Have a wonderful day. Make good choices. Don't get fooled on anybody today. And please stay safe. Please join the Discord if you need to talk to somebody. I'll be in there. I do want you guys to make sure you're being school appropriate in there. But please don't be afraid to reach out to people. Email me if you have any questions about the project. Yes, you do still have to do this project for tomorrow. You guys should have enough time to do that. It's only a couple questions and some form of way to present your thing. So I'm gonna say adios for the rest of for this stream. I'll see you guys again at 1 o'clock. Please tune in. You guys will enjoy it. Trust me. So please come in at 1 o'clock, and we will get started with there. So have a wonderful day. Make good choices. Be nice to each other. Don't fool each other too much. You guys are the best. So